10 o'clock news, this is Alan King. And the weather in London.
Who gives a damn about the weather in London?
Allan Beswick.
Good evening, just after 3 minutes past 10, Bezeq with you till 2. Weather in London, we didn't quite get it, but I hope it's snowing. Only southerners, aren't they? Tommy James and the Vagabonds. I'm dressed for the part tonight. 3.5 minutes past 10. Are you alright? I've got into this sort of space theme because, well, I like space. I'd like a lot more space between me overdraft and zero. No, I wouldn't. I'd like a lot less. But I do. I like space. I like envelopes with windows in. They're nice, them, aren't they, envelope? I mean, you get an envelope and it's got a window. I got one the other day and somebody had painted curtains on it. And when I opened it, it said, "Curtains for you." I sent it to the police. They've been looking for someone on a death threat for years now. Anyway, I say I'm on this space kick. And I've just done Star Trekking, which I used to like. Well, somebody sent me a crap track. And it's The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, which is a lot of men in spaceships with a thumb out looking for a bar of chocolate. And I can't remember what this track's called, but I think it's Journey to the Sorcerer. It's all about a cup. Oh, they've not stopped. We're going to stop in a minute, won't we? Until they're not. I'm not listening to this at all. Where have I put the dedication? Amazing what you find in your own bag. Pardon the expression. I don't think it's ever going to stop. Dear Alan. Stop. No, it's still not stopped. Please would you say "how do" with an umlaut to Nicholas Headley and Paul Olker? And will you play any jingle for them? Or does it say any single? I think it says jingle, because there appears to be a dot over the S otherwise. You want it done on Tuesday the 14th of July. Well, it'll be about 19 years before we have one of those, so you'll have to just take it for granted I missed it last night. He lives at Ollie Lodge and his name's Magnus Chisholm. Got to have a name, haven't you? Please would you say an enormous "how do" to myself? How do, Allan Beswick. This comes from Kathy Kenyon, far close, Worsley Mains in Wigwam. Oh, I'm required also to say "how do" to Martin, whoever he is. Please make sure you get the far close right. Or the other one that I thought said fart close. Yeah, well, there you go. You've written better this time. Michael Roscoe of Grange Road, Bryn, which is also near Wigwam, wants me to say "how do" to him, and also to Andy and Marlow and Woody and Longy and all from Cansfield High. I got me some money here. I can tell money miles away. I'll be with you in this. It better not be tuppence after this. I'm going to be livid. Mind you, tuppence is better than no, isn't it? It's better than a kick in the... It's better than a kick, isn't it? Well, you have to be careful sometimes. So, hey, it's silver. Oh, knockout! 3 bob. You can't beat it. What's it for? He doesn't say. Right, I'm having it. Could you read this out? Right, it might just be a bribe. Can you tell me, is the Beziq's Big Blue cassette the same as the Best of Beziq? No, it's worse than that. If you can imagine anything worse than that. Hang on, there's a bit of writing here. Just a minute. 15 pence for a Mars bar. Can you send me the rest? They're 18. Dear Alan, please can you say a big "how do" to some of the members of the Fire Brigade Society? I don't know who they are, but I'm sure they're not those that put out fires. Anyway, I'm required to say "how do" to Fat Jack, Speedy Gonzales, Whiskers, Guffy, Bowlead Stephen and his dad, Big Ed Jimmy and his crew, and indeed a big "how do" to all the Merseyside firemen, who are the busiest and best in Europe, according to this, especially all the lads at Bank Hall at Central Division Fire Station. I'm actually being interviewed by the Lancashire Fire Brigade in-house magazine sometime this month for publication, I think, in September or October, so I'm looking forward to that. Anyway, I'll do to the Owen residents, who are from Stonycroft Crescent, Liverpool L13. Fire Brigade arrive at your house, let them in. If you don't, they'll chop the door down and spray water all over you. Strange fellows, really. This week's writing competition is somewhat confusing, so I've got to give some details. All I want to know really is how many islands make up the Channel Islands. Now, when I ask that question, I don't want you to tell me, because there's like these little blips of rock that's got names, and we don't count them. We're just on about the whacking gratons, what you can walk on. And we don't want to go any smaller than That's the littlest. So how many islands go up to make the Channel Islands? If you know, put it on a postcard, a sealed down envelope, or in a letter, and address it to me, Allan Beswick, Red Rose Radio, P.O. Box 301 Preston, PR11YE. And the first correct answer out of the hat on Sunday wins the top 10 singles from the network chart, which is not a bad little prize. Last week's answer was, of course, Suffragettes, and the winner was Diane Luca, who I believe lives in Rill. So, seem to be going a long way with this tuppenny-halfpenny bit of a programme. Question once again, how many islands make up the Channel Islands? Answers to me by first post Saturday morning. There's something very comfortable in life about knowing a secret. I know a secret about Christmastide. I shall tell you no more until 'tis all official. However, charity cricket matches seem to be thick and fast in their approaches. 'Cause I'm on another tomorrow. We're playing cricket tomorrow. The Red Rose Radio team, without Eric Hudson, Nine-Fingered Joe, who had his fingers spread all over Carnforth the other day. Anyway, without him, we'll probably get beat yet again. But we're playing tomorrow at about 6:30 at the ROF Sports Club in Exton. We're playing against a team from Astley Village, but we're actually doing it at the ROF Sports Club. So why not come along and give us a cheer, or even a bit of a snarl if you like, as long as you turn up and give us brass for charity. And still with charity, I'm earning no money this week. I don't know if it's worth getting out of bed, but still with charity this week. On Saturday at 2:30, I shall be at the Southport Hospital Friends opening their garden fete, and that's on the Floral Hall Gardens, which is on the promenade in Southport. And then I'm doing a similar thing for a similar type of charity, the Preston Neonatal Support Group, which is Shara Green Hospital in Preston, and that's on Sunday at 2 o'clock. So I'm sort of opening hospital fates all weekend. Is it a fate worse than death, I ask myself? Probably not. So come along and say hello somewhere. But most important, come to the cricket tomorrow, because I'm going to feel a right prat stood there with a lump of wood in my hand while somebody throws a brick at me when there's nobody watching. Because, well, I'm an exhibitionist, let's face it. If you want to join us on the phone in, the lines are now open. Our Rod is taking your call on Preston 561000. And if you're wondering what time it is, you might well. Even if you're not wondering, it will still be the same. And even if you don't want to know, I've got to tell you, because somebody pays us to do so. Right now, it's 27 minutes to 11. You might wonder what he's prattling on about, but let me tell you, we get red rain occasionally in Lancashire. Certainly, a couple of years ago, I went out into the car park after working, and my car were covered in red sand. And all t'other cars were and all. In fact, the whole of the countryside were covered in red sand, what had been blown up from the Sierra. We'd be glad of it now, wouldn't we? All we get now is that water that's been blown up from North Sea. It's St Swithin's Day today, and it's paid it down. So I suggest you go out and buy an umbrella, or even a sou'wester, because I was going to need it for the next 40 days. Maybe I've got it the wrong way round. Maybe it is that if it rains for 40 days, it'll stop on St Swithin's Day. No, Rod's shaking his head. It's a very dangerous occupation, let me tell you. There's every chance of it falling off. Any road, it's going to piddle down for a long time. It's going to persist and persist, as they say. That'll have a wet head, but it'll probably suit you. Please could you tell me where I could send the money here? Whatever it's for, send it here to me. Doesn't matter. I'll look after it for you. I'm very good at that. Oh, it's for the cassette. For the Bezeq Blue cassette, because I want to buy one. Well, it's $3.99, and you just send it to Red Rose Radio. Send it to me if you like, and I'll pass it on to the relevant people, because it's not me, actually. And this comes from Abby Carter, who insists that she's not called Abigail. Well, it's a logical assumption. She lives at Siddow's Avenue in Clitheroe and sends a large number of little smoocheroonies. Thank you very much. Darren Tunstall hopefully sends none. He's from Cumberland House in Preston and wants me to say how do to Carl Crook of Lancaster Road for his 78th birthday. By Joe, knocking on a bit. I just thought I would drop you a line on behalf of Shirley Murgatroyd, Christine Croft, Sue O'Kennedy, Mike Brannan and myself, and thank you once again for coming to the Pop Mobility on Sunday the 31st of May. I went to a Pop Mobility marathon, which was all these nubile people leaping about to music, waving various parts of their anatomy, most of the ones with digits on the end, vis-à-vis their feet and hands, and the arms attaching them to rest. And they've raised over £6,000 for the Les Dawson scanner appeal, which is not bad at all, and they even had the honour of having the cheque presented to Les himself on the 23rd of June. So, smart as out, well done the lot of you, and thank you for letting me know, because sometimes we don't find out what happens after these do's. How do to Lee, Rutland Street in Lee. Please say a mega how do to Mick, Peg, the Monfos, and Neary. Don't they have some very bizarre names? That comes from Paul, who wants a photograph, and indeed has one en route there too.
Ring him if you dare.
Allan Beswick, the late night show.
And the telephone number is 17 minutes to 11. No, it isn't. That's the time. The telephone number is... Oh, dearie me, I'm always the same. The telephone number is Preston 561,000. The time was 17 minutes to 11, but it never will be again. Certainly not on this date in this year. But Preston 561,000, if you wish to join us on the phone-in. No doubt that will appear on the Christmas blooper tape. No doubt it deserves to. Telephone number is 11:15. Very good, yes. Well done, Mr. Bezeq. I always said you were a true professional. European Summer. From President. There'll be no whitewash in the White House. Thelma Bezeq. There's an unfortunate name, isn't it? Of Sutton Grove, Great Knowley, near Chorley. I've been told that you know where to obtain the record about Allan's meat pies, which I have heard several times on your programme. I thought, therefore, hang on, I missed a paragraph. My son's wife is a Radio 4 addict, so poor Robert has never heard the record and is a great Allan's pie eater. I thought, therefore, that it would be a great surprise to cop it for him for his birthday. I should be grateful if you could let me have the name of the suppliers, and thank you in anticipation of your help, and also for the pleasure your programmes have brought to my family. Apart from poor deprived Robert, that is. So says Thelma. Well, Thelma, there is a letter on its way to you telling you exactly where you can get the Allan's Meat Pies record, indeed all the Les Barker records, from. Because we don't like to disappoint somebody who has such a terrible cross to bear, having the same name as me. It must cause you problems. Causes me a lot. Smart as out. Les Barker. Don't forget, if you want copies of Les Barker's record, which includes I Have a Hunch You Don't Love Me, Esmeralda, and all sorts of others, the Weddle Waddle, Penguins, Hell's Alsatians, loads of them. It's called Mrs. Ackroyd's Rock and Roll Show. And if you want copies of it, then write to me and I will send you, providing you send me a stamped self-addressed envelope, I'll send you details of where you can get them direct from Les, because they're not generally available in the shops. Right, well, let's get programme underway. Let's make a crust, as they say. How do, Keith?
Hello, Alan. Hiya.
Yes.
It's a couple of years ago I spoke to you, and it was a completely different subject to tonight. Tonight I'm asking for advice, if that's all right by you. I've spoken with solicitors, barristers, etc. in the past. It concerns access in particular and custody in general of children a failed marriage or broken marriage, whichever way you want it. My situation is that I'm 34 years of age. I've got a child who's coming up 5 in October, and although I'm remarried and we've got a child of our own, we have an elder child, we have a family that's a one of hers, one of mine, and one of ours type of thing. We have the eldest child with us, and her natural father is allowed as much access as he pleases. He comes for Christmas dinner. He comes round at least once a week, sometimes 2 or 3 times a week. And in the case of our middle child, the younger girl, well, time has been against us. Things have been rather fraught and nasty, to the point where now the little girl is no longer in the Wirral. She's been moved down to Bristol. 12 months almost to the day since the courts finally put a seal on it, and it was decreed that I should have staying access for 4 separate weeks of the year, namely school holidays early and late in the summer, 1 week at Easter and 1 week in the Christmas holidays. And this has been abused, shall we say. There was also, other than the court, the other part of the court agreement was that she should be known by my surname, and there was also, as we say, a letter of agreement, which
I presume there's going to be a question sometime.
Yes, the question is going to be, in a situation like that, I'm hopefully not the only one. Are there any other people that have been in a similar situation or are in a similar situation and could offer some advice? Are there any organisations that I can get in touch with?
You haven't really told us what you want to do.
Well, what I want to do is to, right, why I set the background to the situation is that in the past, the courts have done very little to help as regards access towards her, and my ex-wife has done everything she can, seemingly aided by the way the law is at the moment, to obstruct access towards my child, such that now, instead of seeing her every weekend as used to be, it's pushed down to